Welcome, Solara here. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to your week ahead. This is where I am beginning to take a look at the days of the week, the days coming up, and how they align with their planetary influences, as well as that in the zodiac, utilizing the power of tarot astrology. So I know that's a lot. So basically, to give you an example of what it is that we're doing moving forward, today we're going to begin on a Sunday. I am recording this a little bit late. It is almost 5 o'clock in the evening here in the UK. I've been meaning to record for like the last half an hour. I've been trying to negotiate with the sun, so I apologize. I'm trying to stay in a way that you can see me, but the sun came in very brightly just as I was about to record, and I can't complain about that, because there was a message even in that occurring, and that is that the sun can't be hidden. The sun can never be hidden. The truth can never be hidden, and not for too long, And so the message behind that is that the truth of who you guys are cosmologically, there's something very, very big happening energetically this week to ensure that the cosmological truth of divine beings now begin to be materially exposed, for better or for worse. Okay, so that's one message coming through. So to go back to the style of what this is I'm doing, because this is my first time introducing this kind of format to you guys. So for example, today is Sunday, and it is the day of the sun. Right, so that's the day. That's the planetary influence, or the celestial influence behind Sunday, is the sun. And as such, when I look at the energies for today, it's going to be messages from the sun. Okay, and through how the sun is expressing itself astrologically, as well as some of the other planets might chime in. I've been taking some notes, and it's very funny because right off the bat, the sun came in and was just like, "Oh, are we talking? We're talking about me today?" I'm like, "Yes, sun, we are." So that's how we're going to do it. I might pick a card at the end of every day. So tomorrow is Monday. We'll be looking at the moon energies. Tuesday, Mars energies. Wednesday, Mercury energies. Thursday, Jupiter. Friday, Venus, and we're going to leave off on Saturday in going into it deeply, only because I will be back again with another reading about the eclipse, which is falling on the day of Saturn at 21 degrees, which is a degree of Saturn in the tarot also. So I hope that all makes sense to you. So we're going to start off today by going into the energies of the week as the planets want to speak to us about them, is really what it is. And so I want to welcome you first and foremost if you are visiting for the first time. Welcome if you are returning. Welcome if you've been here from day one, or if you joined along the way. Welcome if you've come from my other channel, Solara Speaks. Thank you for being here, and thank you guys for all the ways that you support me. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments, your subscribes, your donations, booking me for services. I really do appreciate it. Please do make sure that you check out my website, Solara with an h.info. I do have some new services up, and I also am offering across the month of October a 10% discount on all my services as a thank you to the subscribers from my other channel, Solara Speaks. They got me to 10K, so this is like a gratitude discount that's available site-wide to everyone, courtesy of my subscribers over at Solara Speaks. So I will be offering now, for those of you who come here because you're interested in tarot astrology, this might be of interest to you. I will be offering now readings where I look at your personal tarot astrology in connection with the moon. So, for example, I had a few orders come in already this week that I'll be working on up until Wednesday, and I will be looking at these clients. I'll be looking at their personal tarot astrology and what this upcoming new moon in Libra eclipse is going to mean for their personal astrology. And then in another couple of weeks, whoever is interested in purchasing that service, I'll be looking at their personal astrology or your personal astrology and what it means in terms of the full moon eclipse that is occurring, I think on the 29th of October. I don't remember fully. So I will be looking not only at the moon, but I will be using the moon as a point of reference to look at the other planetary influences that are affecting your chart at that point and what it means for you moving forward, or rather the energies that are available for you. And as such, you can order that service. I'm not taking any more for this upcoming eclipse, but you can order that service. And you can order it just a plain reading, or you can order it also with any kind of ritual guidance or advice that you would like to bolster the power of what is occurring for you on a personal level. So if you're interested in doing that for the next eclipse, please get in your orders early, because I do limit the amount of people that I will do these readings for, because of it's just very intense for me to do personal astrology and tarot astrology. It's a very intensive process to delve in there. And I also need a 5 to 7 working day window from the time you order to get the reading back to you. So please organize your time accordingly, because I will not take readings past that window. I don't do emergency readings because, in my opinion, there's no such thing as really an emergency in these areas. Because a lot of the time what people say are emergencies are things that their guides want them to sit down and handle themselves, or to wait and to learn the power of divine timing. Okay, so that's just my opinion, but you know, everyone's entitled to that, right? Okay, so before I get into the week ahead energies, I do want to say, like in terms of the days, I do want to say that I've got my notes here, and I was seeing a few themes that were occurring. So the way I'm looking at the planets, for those of you who are, interested, is that I am taking a look at when the energy reaches, midnight, in accordance with the chart, with the time of the chart. So I work with astroseek.com. That's the chart that I choose to use for these readings. And I tune in at midnight GMT. Okay, so I'm looking at, for example, Sunday, I'm looking at October the 8th at midnight GMT on AstroSeek. And the same thing will go for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, and those are the planetary, that's what I'm looking at, where the planets are at that time. Okay, I do in my notes have where they travel throughout the day, but I'm not really dealing so much with transits, okay? That's not my area of expertise yet. I was not trained classically in astrology. I work through reading the energies a little bit differently than those who are schooled in more classical traditions, yes? So one thing I was really picking up on was the 0 point energy. And I say that because when I put in the information for the chart for October the 8th today at midnight GMT, I was met with the moon at 0 degrees Leo, which was really interesting because that's what we're kicking the week off with. That's the energy that was available to me at the time, or that was I was led to look at. And so the fact that we are beginning this week on the Sunday, the day of the sun, as the moon moves into Leo, it tells us a lot about the energies of exposure that are, I'm not going to say that they're materially coming forth, because as the moon is in Leo, it is waxing. Right, so the moon is moving into darkness, but I will say that it's almost like the cogs are getting turned for all of these things to begin to come forth in real time. Okay, so Leo energy, of course, it is ruled by the sun. So we've got, it's just very powerful solar energy. And even the fact that Venus is in the closing degree of Leo, it's at 29 degrees Leo as the day begins on Sunday, October the 8th. And anytime, so we have the moon at 0 degrees Leo, and we've got Venus at 29 degrees Leo. So anytime we have a 0 degree or a 29 degree marker, it always speaks of like the fullness of the energy of the sign, but it shows it in different ways. So the 29 degree energy is like the fullness of that sign actually realized. Okay, so Venus has gone through the entirety of Leo and has learned something about the Leo energy and has also imparted that wisdom to us along the way. And not only has she gone all the way through, she's been very thorough because she went backwards and she did some review, and then she went forward again and gave us even more lessons based upon the retrograde or the review period. So Venus has really thoroughly learned this Leo energy and is passing it on to us, just as the moon enters it. And it feels almost like the moon is entering it in order to, because what we're going to also see later on in the week is that Saturn is going to move backwards from 1 degree Pisces into the 0 degree Pisces, which is, again, a 0 degree point. It feels like there's still a sweeping away of the Piscean energies, but it feels like there's a sweeping away very specifically. It's very specific energies that are being swept away. It is the energies that have obscured your golden truth. It is the energies that have obscured your ability to access your golden solar codes, as I call them, or it's the energy that has obscured your ability to reconnect and to have access materially to the energies of the previous golden age that are needing to be born again right now and to be reactivated in order to establish this new golden age. Now, the previous golden age was the age of Leo. This new golden age that we are setting the foundation for presently is, of course, Leo's sister sign, the age of Aquarius. So it's very interesting how we have this interplay, and literally Lilith just left Leo and has moved. She's at the 0 degree point in Virgo, so we have that 0 degree energy. So I explained how the 29 degrees is like the culmination or the fullness of all the energies of the sign. Well, if the 29 degrees is that, the 0 degrees is the birthing point, and it's where the fullness of the infinite potential of everything that sign can possibly be, it's in that place. It is a point of infinity. It is the 0 point. It is the void. It is a portal. Anytime I see 0 degrees on somebody's personal chart, I'm doing tarot astrology, I know they have some kind of portal into an energy. Anytime I see it in collective energy, it means there's some kind of portal opening for us to go higher, okay? Or opening to like a vacuum suck things out. And oftentimes it's to do both, because that 0 degree point, I like to say, it's kind of like when Alpha and Omega meet, you know, and everything, the beginning becomes the end and the end becomes the beginning, and all things can become new and old things can die. It's a point of great exponential potential, you could say. So let's get into what's happening today. As you know, it struck midnight GMT. We have the sun at 14 degrees Libra. So on today, Sunday, the 8th of October, the sun is going to be moving through 14 degrees and will be entering into 15 degrees. So traveling through 14 and 15 degrees Libra. And astrologically, the 14 degree mark is a degree of Taurus, and the 15 degree mark is a degree of Gemini. So there's some kind of balancing that's happening now as far as our own personal energy is concerned, and how we're then going to be able to go out into the world and distribute it, which is very interesting because that is the 7th house that Libra rules over. The 7th house is when we first begin to make our way into the world and learn how to distribute our power, distribute our energy, share it with another in ways that honors self first, in order that we can honor others and we can honor groups and we can honor the earth. Okay, so Virgo teaches us how to tune into the value of our energy, and then we go out with the Libra and we begin to practice with others. Okay. So the message that was coming through right now is that there is an establishment of balance that is happening that is necessary for new material contracts. So anytime you enter into anytime you enter into a cardinal sign, you're entering into a new cycle. Okay. In the material world, we have, quarters that are connected to the financial sector, and astrologically, the energies are broken down into quarters too, meaning that they're broken down into 4 cycles, and within those 4 cycles are another 3 elements. So you have cardinal energy kicks off a cycle, cardinal sign. So each cycle is 3 months approximately. You have the cardinal sign kicking it off. Then you have fixed energy that is establishing the new cycle. And then we have the mutable energy that is giving the that is perfecting the energy that wants to be fixed, meaning like it's getting rid of things, it's adding things, it is calibrating the energy in accordance with what is necessary to establish the energy so that a new cycle can open when the sun moves into the next cardinal energy. So far, we've had 2 cycles in the year, okay, that have closed out. It began with Aries at the equinox, and the first cycle closed out at the end of Gemini season. Then we began in cardinal energy again with Cancer season, and it just closed out with Virgo season. And now we're entering into the 3rd quarter of this astrological year, and that is Libra energy. So right now we are in the beginning of establishing a new cyclical or a new pattern in our own realities on an individual and a collective level, and it will always be based upon all of the lessons that you've learned from previous cycles. So every time you're establishing something new, it's based upon the energies and what you've done with them from previous cycles. Okay, so because we've been in ascension, we've been being challenged to no longer stay put and to really utilize the power of the energies that are available to us planetarily and internally in order to recalibrate ourselves into the true positions, our true positions of divine power, where we can take back authority over self and over the earth, because the earth, for all intent, everything's been hijacked. You were hijacked energetically, the earth was hijacked, and now we're in operation take our shit back. That's where we are right now, okay? So right now, Libra season is helping us to establish the balance necessary for new material contracts. Now, where am I getting that also? Well, the 14 energy is connected in the tarot to the Temperance card. And the Temperance card is all about, again, it's an energy of balance, but the Temperance card is balancing for a very specific purpose. It's balancing you in order to get you ready to hold more expansion, to hold more of the expansive energies that allow for you to walk in your truth. Okay, and indeed, everywhere today I've been, picking up on a lot of pregnancy energy, and I'm like, why is there so much pregnancy energy in the air? And the thing about it is that I'm not picking up on it in terms of seeing people and seeing people pregnant. No, it's just a message my guides keep on giving me, and what they were unraveling to me, they were saying it's a metaphysical pregnancy. Many of you are literally becoming pregnant right now with the lives that you're going to be bringing forth. Months from now, or maybe for some of you, you'll be materializing it in the next quarter. You get what I'm saying? But there is definitely some kind of like impregnation that is occurring right now when it comes very specifically to the reactivation of the golden codes that are needed in order to really get this new golden age rooted and established and going. Okay, so we're always in this stage of cycles are all about birthing and dying, and it's all that process. But then there are these pivotal points in the energy where you know that something is dying, or something is being born, or something is being planted. And right now, it feels like we are energetically in a very pivotal point where things are being planted, and it really does feel to me like these are golden age solar codes. Okay, now the 15 degree, because we're moving through 14 and 15 degrees Libra today, or the sun will be entering 15 degrees today on Sunday, October the 8th. 15 is the devil in the tarot, and the devil is to do with material contracts. Every energy has its everything exists in duality. Everything has its shadow, or its unevolved energy. I shouldn't even call it its shadow energy. It has its more unevolved energy, and it has its more evolved state. And then it has just its pure neutral energetic reality. And the pure neutral energetic reality of the devil is that it is about material contracts. Now, the reason it can become the devil is because it can bind you out of your divine truth if you yourself become imbalanced and you put too much of your energy into going after that, as opposed to climbing into your divine power and accessing your divine contracts. But all material contracts aren't bad. You need these material contracts because you live a material life. So that's the area of the devil. And so there's something here that is occurring through this Libran energy that is already about balance and justice, that is helping us to establish the balance that is necessary for our new material contracts. And because you're dealing with Libra energy, this is, for many of you, happening very much in your mental and emotional bodies. So it's all about your thoughts aligning with your feelings right now. You might be feeling like after in the aftermath, that full moon was a hell of a full moon, right? But you might be feeling like, for the first time after that full moon, you might be feeling a little bit more, balanced if it took you out a little bit. And that is because the full moon in Aries was designed to help you purge yourself of those things that you need to purge yourself of, because it's time for you to move higher and establish a new balance. And anytime you need to calibrate yourself higher and create a new sense of stability in a higher energy, everything in the older energy that still exists must be shaken so it can be seen and it can be moved. So today is about aligning your mind and your heart now with this new higher level that you've been introduced to for as long as you allowed the purging process of the full moon in Aries to take you up, instead of getting locked down in energies of fear or lack. Because, we are conscious creators. We are creating our realities based upon how we think and how we feel. And so if those energies of purging were too overwhelming and you forgot who you were, right? And that happens to all of us from time to time. And there's always the opportunity to wake the fuck up and remember. Then what occurs with that is that we think that something is bigger or greater than us. And that's always going to be the lie. And not that something is bigger or greater than us, but something has more power over us than we have over self. And that is the lie, rather. There's nothing outside of you that has more power and influence over you than you. Everything that seems to overpower you does it by way of messing with your mind and making you believe that it has that power over you. But the minute that you walk into divine alignment and order, even in the moment, and you recalibrate yourself with your truth, that energy must dissipate, because it's a lie, it's an illusion, and you are truth. And when you're walking in your truth, it becomes more solidified. So today is a good day for overcoming any sabotaging mindsets that have contributed to cycles of heartbreak by being unafraid to shine and be yourself. So the Leo energy, again, it's like, and this Aries moon was really pulling at that energy too, in a way. It's like, where are you still afraid to fully be yourself? You see, a lot of you, and this is me talking, but it's also the sun coming through right now. A lot of you are afraid to shine, and you've been made afraid to shine because anytime that you shone too bright, you were made to feel as if there was a problem, okay? And the reality is there was never a problem with you shining. The problem was with those beings who, when you shone too brightly, it cast too much of their shadow came up for them to see. And instead of dealing with it, they projected it onto you and made you feel as if there was something wrong with you. Okay, there's never anything wrong with you when you are walking in the fullness of your divine light and even your divine darkness, because you are a being of duality, and your shadow has a purpose too. Your shadow is there to protect you against the fuckery. So there is never anything wrong. You will never be too much to another being who is whole in themselves. Okay, you will never be too much for another being who has embraced the wholeness of self. When people try to shame you into being smaller, it's always to do with the lens through which they look at themselves, and they're needing to minimize you in order to feel better, instead of dealing with those places within where they're believing lies about themselves concerning lack also. Okay, so this is helping you to get over that. So many of you have learned how to automatically dim yourself in ways that you're not even conscious of. Okay, you've learned how to make yourself smaller. Like, for example, I learned very early on that some people, especially being a Black woman, that some people are very threatened by my intellect. And the way that they would make me feel as if there was something wrong with my intellect was they would say things to me like, oh, you just like to use big words. You like to think you're smarter than everyone and everything. And that's not the case. I don't think I'm smarter than everyone, but I do like words. Like, as a kid, I'd curl up in my father's study and I would read encyclopedias and dictionaries. I've always been an introvert, and I've been writing poetry since I was a kid. I love words. I love that you can say things in the English language about 15 different ways. I love a good thesaurus. I love words, and I like to use words. I'm very expressive with words, and I'm a Virgo ascendant, so I'm very much in tune with that energy. And because of that, I found myself going very often into situations, especially job situations and friendships, where I would dumb myself down to make other people feel better. And I don't do that anymore. I don't purposely try to use big words to make people feel small or anything. If anything, if I use a word that someone doesn't know, it's a great opportunity for them to learn something new. And that's really how it should be when we're secure in ourselves and we're learning something new that somebody else has. It should be like, oh, wow, what a great opportunity to learn more about that. That's curiosity. That is the childlike innocence we've lost because of the perpetual wounding cycles of the matrix. Okay, we are to approach things with curiosity and not judgment, right? And so, to go back to what it is I'm saying, there's something that's, it feels like today is a day about recalibrating your energy into a place where you are no longer willingly, willfully, or even unconsciously dimming your light in order to make others feel better about themselves. It's not your job. It never was your job. Your only job here, every single being's job here, is to shine and be the fullness of who they are. And if another person cannot deal with that, then you move away from them. That's their issue. That's their problem. But it's never your job to begin to shirk back and to hide yourself and to make yourself smaller. A lot of you guys do that, especially those of you who are exceptionally gifted. You do that because others have an issue with your gifts. And it's time, we're in a new world. There's like a very, very powerful golden age shift that is occurring. I feel it right now through this eclipse window, through the 1010 portal. There are simultaneous endings and beginnings. And this is a week where we get to set the tone. So make sure you are using these energies wildly. Wildly. I meant wisely, but wildly too, okay? So don't be afraid of rejection. Don't be afraid when other people reject you, okay? In your truth. That's what the reason why a lot of us would dim ourselves, because we'd be afraid to be rejected in our truth. It's no longer a time to be afraid to be rejected. If people reject you at this point, it's protection. It's showing you that they cannot handle your energy. You're not on the same frequency. No shade to them. We've all been there. We can all return there. We're all here healing from all the wounds of the matrix and how they have manifested through us in different ways. But it's not your position to change yourself, to make somebody feel more secure in their woundedness. Okay? So don't be afraid of rejection, and no more dimming yourself for false acceptance ever again. There feels like a line has been crossed. Okay, so the day starts with the moon in Leo at 0 degrees, and it feels like there's a return to golden age energies and establishing foundations for new golden age energies. We're laying the mental and emotional foundations. This is very important. It feels like this week is beginning, and however the week is beginning, you can bet that it's going to be a very real theme of the week. We are laying the emotional and we are laying the mental and emotional, the new mental and emotional foundations that are necessary for our material development moving forward. Okay, so the first quarter of this year, Aries to Gemini season, was about accessing our Christed mind. Cancer through Virgo season did a number on our emotions and our hearts. It was about clearing out the old emotional programs that our emotional foundation had been wrongly built, and therefore the way that we had been creating in the world was coming through this distorted energy, which is the false mother energy, the karmic mother energy of the matrix. Okay, where mothers have been taught to wound their children for the system. Okay, there was a recalibrating, a healing of that, a healing of the limbic system that was occurring through the planetary changes in order to help us establish a new emotional foundation where we're no longer allowing energies that dysregulate our nervous systems. Okay, and through Leo season, there was more of that work. In Virgo season was about perfecting that new energy so that now in Libra season we can bring mind and heart back together in cohesion, what we need in order to move forward and birth new material realities as conscious creators. It is through your thoughts and your feelings that you create or manifest your reality. And up until now, most of us have not been conscious creators. We've just been manifesting energies based upon programming and conditioning. And so now we are taking back our minds, we're taking back our hearts. And Libra season is all about that marriage of the two, in order that now we are consciously creating material realities that are in alignment with what we want and what we desire, in accordance with who we are divinely. Okay? So Mercury is at 5 degrees in Libra today. So there's some kind of pivot point energy I was picking up on. A chance to confidently lean deeper into the power of your magic by way of confidence in your divine beauty. Or, because there's always that or, to shrink back into self-deception. And the self-deception would be that you're not enough, you're not powerful enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not rich enough, you're not smart enough, you're not something enough. Lies of the matrix. So shrink back into self-deception and have to learn another lesson to ascend into your true greatness. So this whole week feels like it is a pivot point, to be completely honest. It feels like the full moon in Aries came to shake some shit up, as it should do. And based upon what it shook up, are you going to take what the full moon in Aries was ultimately trying to show you and rise into your power, or are you going to continue to take that shit, kind of thing? The Aries full moon wanted to shake up and show you still the things that are blocking you. So everywhere there were combustions of blocks. What you were experiencing, if you were still doing heavy clearing, it was showing you the things that needed to be cleared out of your field so you can begin to create a reality from your divine truth, as opposed to matrix conditioning, programming, parental, ancestral, generational conditioning and programming. So are you going to hold on to the stuff that wanted to come up, or did you dispel it and realize and recognize and identify it for what it is? Okay, so right now the energy that is that we're really looking at is what's going, what's staying, what are you holding on to, and what wants to come in. What do you need to let go of in order to let it come in? That is the theme of today, because it's setting off the theme for the week ahead, because based upon what you choose to contract your mind and your heart to this week, as we are in Libra season in this new cycle of contracts, is going to be what the eclipse energies then come in to match. So if you say, I'm tired of living a certain way, and you say in your heart, you're not just saying it with your mouth, but now you are aligning it with your heart. And then you're taking some kind of maybe material action to prove that you're done. Then the universe with this eclipse energy is going to come and help to clear the path of what you're sick of. Okay? It's going to utilize the power of these two eclipses to begin the work of clearing out that energy. And for everyone, it's going to be different. It's going to depend on the level of density that must be shifted. But this eclipse is going to give it a big ass, swift kick up the ass, like get out the way. And then for other beings, especially those of you who have divine contracts, and you're too afraid to take that step forward, the universe is going to assist you also in that. You get what I'm saying? The planets and these eclipses, they support us in every way. These energies only descend into towers when we are holding on past the point of expiration. And that's something that we're all going to have to learn. And some beings are going to learn that in more harsh ways because they haven't learned it before. We are not here to hold on to anything. We are pilgrims literally passing through. This is Earth School. We're not here to hold on to people. We're not here to hold on to stuff. We're not here to hold on to anything. And that doesn't mean you don't get to have amazing relationships and amazing things, but it does mean that when the time is over and it's time to surrender for a new experience, a higher and a better experience, that you must be ready and willing to detach. Okay, and especially right now, and I don't want to seem cold when I say that, but that's the truth. Because right now, and I mentioned this before, I think I want to say Leo and Virgo season. Right now, so many of you are ascending so rapidly, and we're all doing this in our own ways. And the whole point is for us all to get to our highest timelines. Okay, and as such, your detachment ability must be very, very you must be very, very good at it at this point. You must be very, very adept at it at this point. That was the word that was like at the edge of my mind. You must be an adept at it at this point. And it's because you are letting go of the things that are not good for you. And here's the thing about people, and I ain't talking about like your husband or your children or whatever. I mean, for some of you got grown children, yes, that might be the case. For some of you who are in marriages that are blocking both of your ability to ascend, then yes, that might be the case. But I'm saying in general, other relationships, you have to realize as a divine being that everyone is on their own individual journey. Okay, and when someone comes into our lives, we're here to enjoy the fuck out of the time that they're here with us. And that's it. And when the energies shift and we're going in different directions energetically, it's not time to hold on. I tell you what happens every time we do that. And I'm sure many of you can attest. Every time you've held on to a relationship past an expiration, it's turned karmic. It's turned karmic. It's either things are going to be worked out, and sometimes there's nothing to work out. It's just two people going in different energetic directions. And that is okay, because it means that you're evolving, and that's exactly what you're here to do. And that's supposed to be life. But the thing about it is, right now, because you're in ascension, all of that is happening very rapidly to catch us up to all of the timelines that we've missed because of the fuckery. That's why for some of you, you're going through so many phases so quickly. That's what it is. Okay? So I don't want to get too deep into that, but on Monday, we've got the moon expressing herself. She begins at 12 degrees Leo at midnight GMT. Let me move this forward on my chart also. She begins at are you going to cooperate? Okay, so she begins at 12 degrees Leo on midnight GMT of October 9th, Monday, the moon, because we're moving now from the sun into moon energies. And as we do that, you can finally see me completely. Bye-bye, sun. Thank you. So we have the moon in her waning phase, the third quarter moon in Leo at 12 degrees. And as we open up Monday, and, for some of you, it won't be, if you're farther east than GMT time, you'll be halfway through the day. But this is what I'm working with right now, okay? So opens up 12 degrees, and the moon is traveling, between 12 and I think around 12 to about 24 degrees. So she's moving through the second and the third decan of Leo on Monday. Okay, so the moon energies, Monday energies, the moon energy is all about, it's about intuition, it's about your psychic gifts, it's about dreams, but it is also about birthing, right? And it's also about protection, emotional protection especially, and emotional healing can also, the lunar energies can be utilized for that too, especially mother healing, right? Mother wound healing. But the moon is waning, and then we've got Mercury opening. Wait a minute, are we on the right chart? Yes, we've got Mercury moving from just moving from 6 to 7 degrees. Okay, in Libra. And as I was channeling this, I kept on getting, I was playing some music in the background. I had like a shuffle on. And I kept on getting so much, again, energy of brand newness. Let me just get into my notes, and then I'll get into some of the songs I channel. Maybe I'll share with you some of the songs I channeled, okay? So what was interesting about the fact that if you're looking at the planets from, the planetary positions from Monday, the 9th of October at midnight through Tuesday, the 10th of October, midnight GMT. What is interesting about that is that it is 12 to 24 degrees Leo. That's the cycle the moon is moving through. And 12 degrees is a degree of Pisces. And so is 24. So we've got Pisces to Pisces energy. So there's some kind of whole revolution that is occurring just through the lunar energies on Monday. And so what my guides were saying to me is that it's purging out the Piscean programming, putting mindsets and emotional states on a chopping block that contribute to you consenting to play small. Okay, so this is what the lunar energies are wanting to help you with on Monday. And as such, whenever you're purging out something, there oftentimes is deep emotion. There's an experience that goes with it. So if you're feeling like something old is coming up on Monday, this is why. It's coming up for you to say no more to it. You're not part of my reality. It's not coming up to scare you into thinking you're going backwards. You will only go backwards if you commit to that thought. Okay? So Remember, because this is a week where we are establishing the foundations for the new golden age energies through ourselves. Okay, so purging out Piscean programming, putting mindsets and emotional states on the chopping block that contribute to us consenting to playing small. And I want to tell you that these are not only things that occur with people. These are things that occur with internally. That's what the moon deals with, the hidden, deep, unconscious energies that run your reality. Okay, so for example, I think my daughter will mind me sharing this with you. Okay, I had to have a bit of a chat with her today because I came forward and I said, this is something that we're doing new. And I explained the reason as to why, and instantly there was an energetic wall of resistance that went up. The face and the attitude changed, the energy changed, and all of a sudden there's no more open engagement. At which point I had to explain to her, I had to break it down to her and explain that it's time to begin changing things, that a lot of the behaviors that we have become accustomed to, and we become very familiar with them, and we think there's nothing wrong with them. They're not as benign as we think, because ultimately they are patterns of behavior that we have established based upon trauma, based upon believing that we're supposed to stay in fight or flight. And this is what I was explaining to her. Anytime a person who actually loves you, truly loves you, and wants to see you rise, comes towards you and tells you it's time to do something different, and you put a wall up and you start to fight against it, what you're doing is you're saying, I am consenting to fighting. I am consenting to staying in fight or flight. I am consenting to staying in lack. And it's time to undo that hyper-defensive energy that so many of us get into, not only with one another, but really it's with self. We put up barriers against our own ability to expand and move out of survival mode, move out of fight or flight, because our instant reaction is, instead of being curious, is either judging or being afraid. And it's time for many of us to revisit the emotional responses and cues that are just so automatic for us, that we think are either us being protective, or it's just how we are, or it is what it is kind of thing. It's time for us to look at the nitty-gritty details of how those energies, those mindsets, those reactions are what ultimately keep us in lower energies that don't allow for us to elevate and receive what it is that is already ours. Because what I was explaining to her earlier on is that everything that you've ever wanted is already yours. The matrix likes to have you in want. For as long as you're saying, I want something, then you are in a state of desire. And if you're in a state of desire, then you're in a state of lack. But the truth is, everything you want already exists. The timeline where you have everything you want, for as long as it's in divine order, moving forward into the new earth, it already exists. So, if it already exists, what is stopping you from accessing it? And that's what you need to focus on, not trying to get there, but trying to deal with the energies, and it's always within. Even with the attacks and the external energies that are coming for us, those energies are only further highlighting to us the battles that we're still facing within, that we have to come to terms and to come to peace with. So I think I used an analogy with her also. I'm trying to remember the analogy I used for that. Oh, so it's kind of like if somebody were to come to you where you are in your living situation, and they were to give you a key to a brand new, beautiful home, right? And, no strings attached, nothing. And you say, no, it's okay. I don't, take it away. And they ask you why. Well, because in order to do that, I would have to pack up boxes, I'd have to move, I'd have to get to know a new neighborhood. It's just too much work. I can't be bothered to invest that kind of work in. And so if I were to tell you that, you'd look at me like, is you crazy? Take a few days or a week out of your life and pack yourself up and open yourself up to the adventure. That's probably what you'd say. Well, from minute to minute, that's what we do oftentimes to ourselves in life, especially for those of you who've been through such like trauma cycles where you were programmed into thinking that you had to play small and you had to accept less and that others deserved more than you. That's a lie. So this moon is wanting to really hone in on, I shouldn't say the moon. Well, the moon, yes. The lunar energies of Monday, which are in Leo, really want to tune into some of that, especially childhood programming. A lot of it is childhood programming that we need to really now, we've got to recalibrate our minds and our emotions in order to now access what is already ours. Because remember, it's already yours. If you don't have it, it's because there needs to be a recalibration of your mental and your emotional energies. And, there needs to be a clearance of the external energies that are trying to keep you lower too. Absolutely. But the main work is always going to be, even when you're battling the external energies, the main work to keep those energies out and to kick them out once and for all will always be internal. Okay, so you're closing a chapter to emotional settings acquired from childhood. It almost feels like this week there's a lot of wrapping up energy. There's a wrapping up of a lot of the work that was done over Cancer and Leo season when it came to the recalibration of your emotional fields. Okay, so you're closing a chapter to emotional settings acquired from childhood, especially by way of maternal wounding and subsequent programming and disciplining. So you were disciplined into states that allowed you to accept less than what you deserve. And it's time to fully surrender all of that bullshit. Okay? So you're turning off the program that tuned you out of your dreams, your childish flamboyance and your joy. So the Leo energy is always about helping you to recover your joy so that you can heal the inner child. And the Pisces energy, which is why it's so interesting that it's expressing itself as I'm picking it up from 12 to 24 degrees, which are both, again, Piscean degrees. The Pisces energy is when you've arrived and you've taken back your innocence. They're both the energies that encompass the child energies of the zodiac. But Leo is about the recovery of the inner child, and Pisces is more like the graduation, because Pisces is graduation on so many levels. But in order to enter into the kingdom of heaven, as Jesus said, you must first become like a child, meaning you must recover the innocence that you've lost through these sacrifice and energy harvesting cycles of the matrix. You must recover it. And the Pisces energy gives you the chance to graduate from that and to walk into the fullness of who you are to exit the matrix, right? But the Pisces energy, the reason it deals with karmic energies and hidden enemies is because it's also the place where you are right at the door to exit, where all of those hidden lurking energies want to lure you back in. And it happens at every cycle. There's also an opportunity for blind spots, for blind spots to be to come up to be seen now. So, like I said, it's those nitty gritty things that you just you don't even think about, and they actually are programs that put you into lack in the way that you are able or not able to receive good things. Okay, so it's coming up for recognition and acknowledgement for clearance. Okay, it's for clearance. So these energies began making themselves more apparent when the moon entered Cancer on Friday. And one second. And these are hidden energies, hidden veils or hidden energies that have been hiding or blocking your creativity and your right to express it authentically. So these energies that are wanting to come up are things that are they've also been blocking your creativity and your ability to express that authentically. So this is all about the recovery of that lost, like that childish flamboyance you had, where as a child you believed anything was possible because that's the truth before you were talked out of it. So all of those blocks to your creativity and to your ability to receive, because creativity, receiving, abundance, this is all sacral energy. It is, it's coming up to show you the blind spots in that programming. So pay attention to your dreams, especially the ones you had over this weekend and the ones that you have like tonight, Sunday into Monday, and Monday into Tuesday. Okay, there might be a lot of family themes that are coming up for you, especially if you come from an exceptionally karmic family. They're coming up for deeper purging from the emotional body. Okay, so on Monday, you will want to use the lunar energies of the days You will want to use the lunar energies of the day to see what needs to be seen, without repression, without pushing it back, without ignoring it, without saying it's too small, without pushing it back in, and without attachment. And I should also add, without judgment, because it's time to let things go. And a lot of the time, the reason that we stay attached to things is because we're also judging them. We're ashamed of certain things. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Your human experiences are nothing to be ashamed of. There's not an emotion under the sun that all of us haven't felt. You get what I'm saying? But the Matrix wants you to feel ashamed for your human experience, and they want you to feel ashamed for the energies that they ultimately programmed you into to energy harvest. And there's nothing to be ashamed of, for as long as you're not judging yourself and your value based upon those energies that you don't even have to stay attached to. Okay? So there is an exit of a karmic legacy. You are exiting a karmic legacy. And you've been exiting it. The contract for it has been done. Right? But there's a doorway that's opening for, if you choose to walk through it, this is what's available for you to do, for you to exit a karmic legacy once and for all, because you've reprogrammed your mind and your heart out of attunement with that. Okay? So the day could be emotional. Monday might be emotional, but also deeply freeing. Deeply freeing. It is the end of the line of an old karmic story through emotional purging that is leading up to an eclipse season where it will be totally expunged for as long as you no longer lay claim to it. Okay? You are making room for the new. Making room for the new. That has been a big theme. Making room for the new. Making room for the new. So Venus is entering Virgo at 0 degrees. So there we have another portal energy. We have 3 0-degree portal energies in terms of, the planets this week. The moon is always moving through that because the moon moves so rapidly. But we have Venus moving into Virgo at 0 degrees. We have Saturn moving back out of the 1 degree place in Pisces to 0 degrees, where it will stay for a little while. Then we also have Mars moving out of Libra and entering the 0 degrees of Scorpio. And then we also have Lilith chilling at 0 degrees Virgo. Okay, so 4 prominent 0 degree energies that are occurring this week on the week of the 1010 portal and on Friday the 13th, right? Leading up to Saturday the 14th, where we have the new moon eclipse in Libra. The first new moon in, the Aries Libra, why can't I think of the word? It's like right on the tip of my mind. I can't think about it. The Aries Libra axis. The first new moon in the Aries Libra axis since that axis moved into the nodes. So Venus is entering Virgo at 0 degrees on Monday, the 9th of October. So on the day of the moon. So there is the start of the materializing of beauty and Venus retrograde lessons. Okay, so again, this is about surrendering to those things that the Venus retrograde showed you about yourself, about how you relate to yourself, about others, and how any blocks to living beautifully. Because remember, Venus believes you have a right to pleasure. So Venus is now wanting to bring that beauty, materialize the choices you've made based upon that energy now as she moves into Virgo. Okay, and she also wants to get your mind right. Get your mind in order, help you get your mind in order and in attunement with knowing and believing that your birthright is to live beautifully. So it's also the start of reclamation of self and your true value. Okay, materially. You've already been doing this on other planes, but now as Venus moves into Virgo, it's one of the energies that is helping that to come forth materially. Okay, so on Tuesday, I think I'm going to soldier on. I think this is going to be just a long ass video, and that's fine for me. Everything should be time stamped. Okay, so so the songs that were coming through for Monday that I was channeling, it was Alicia Keys, Brand New Me. Tony Braxton came on, Let It Flow, and Beyonce, All Night Long. And if you know anything about that All Night Long song, it is about past life love. So there's something wrapping up again about a karmic legacy in your emotional fields on Monday. On Tuesday, Tuesday is Mars energy. It's ruled by Mars. So we're going to take a look at how Mars is expressing himself on Tuesday, as well as, the other planets too. Let me just move this forward. So on Tuesday, Mars will be traveling through 28 and 29 degrees of Libra. Now the 28 degree of Libra, 28 is not Libra just in general, 28 is a degree astrologically of Cancer. 29 astrologically is a degree of Leo. So we have Mars expressing itself through the sign of Libra with Leo, Cancer and Leo underpinning the energies through the degrees. Okay, so we already have this theme because I was saying to you before, there is a wrapping up of a lot of the calibration that was done, especially emotionally through Cancer and Leo season, that Virgo came to also help us calibrate, and the Libra energy is helping us to attune it even deeper as mind and heart come into cohesion, come into oneness, come into the oneness field, come into the 0 point. Hence the reason why all the zeros this week. Okay, so Mars on Tuesday says he is fighting for your right to love and live in ways you love. Wait a minute. I said that wrong. Mars says on Tuesday that he is here to help you fight for your right to love and to live in ways that you love. Okay, so there is a further destruction and sweeping out of the heart blocks and the emotional discrepancies that you did the work to purge and heal during Cancer and Leo seasons. Mars wants to bring you justice, Libra energy, and equilibrium in accordance with how true you've been to your own heart, Leo energy, and soul's journey. Cancer and Leo energy, right? So Mars wants to bring you justice and equilibrium in accordance with how true you've been to your own heart and soul's journey. Mars also wants to bring you justice and equilibrium in accordance with how diligently you fought for yourself and for your right to divine love, for your right to divine contracts, for your right to divine living. Mars wants to support you as you close out a cycle of warfare. And that doesn't mean the warfare is over. It just means for everyone, it's going to be different where you are in your season and your cycle. But this is the energy that Mars is supporting as you fight diligently for your right to that Venusian energy to live a life that you love. As you fight for your right to divine love, as you fight to be true to your own heart and your own individual soul's journey, Mars is supporting you in this. Okay, so Mars wants to bring in the fire and the destruction that is necessary to usher in higher degrees of peace and stability in your heart and in your mind. So in other words, if you are dealing with, for example, if on Monday you were purging a lot of emotional energy, Mars wants to come in and set fire to that energy and destroy it so it no longer can lay claim to you. So for those of you who are interested in, working with these energies with ritual, that would be a good thing to do on the Tuesday, for example, to write down what it is that you noticed on Monday you had to purge and to burn it and to let it go. Okay, so the Mars energy is expressing itself because it's at the 28, begins at the 28 degree mark. It is expressing itself in that third decan of Leo is the Libra, is the Four of Swords. Okay, so fours in the tarot are connected to the Emperor, more Mars, more Aries energy. Okay, so, and fours are about the establishing of the foundation of an energy so that it actually can go forward. The decision has been made. Now it's time to establish the foundation. So the decision has been made on Monday. I'm no longer subscribing to these old energies, these old ways of thinking about myself or others or the world. I'm no longer giving my emotional energy to something. I'm no longer acting this way, living this way, thinking this way, responding this way. I'm recognizing that this is all programming. I'm no longer doing it. So Mars says, okay, let's set the foundation for this new energy and let's sweep away what it is that would stop that. Okay, so it's attuning you to know also when to fight for your truth. So the irony is that an energy, like I said, we work in duality. So therefore, if you're working in duality, the poison is also the cure. Okay, if you know anything about homeopathy, then you'll know what I'm talking about. The poison is always also the cure. It's just to what measurement. Okay, so for example, when I say your attacks are your activations, they are. The attack is what is activating and upgrading you for as long as you're not in defeatist mode or thinking that the attack is more powerful than you over yourself. And that is something that is an energy mentally and emotionally that is only cultivated as you continue to persist with it. You don't just wake up with it. That's why the attacks occur, in order to wake you up and to activate you into the fullness of your power on a divine level, as sucky as it may be, because that was really the only way to get out of here, which is a whole different story. But so this Mars energy, in other words, it teaches you how to fight. Mars is very destructive and can be very volatile, but Mars also is a warrior. So Mars does know how to back down. It does, right? And so Mars can teach you how to do that too. So Mars can teach you how to control your fire, in other words. So it's attuning you, this energy on Tuesday, and it's not only Mars that's doing this, it's always going to be Mars with the help of the other planets, because the reason why Mars can know when to back down is also because of the inclusion of the other planetary energies. Okay, so the sun, this is very interesting, on Tuesday is at 16 degrees Libra. 16 is the tower. In tarot, it's the tower. That is the card of Mars. Okay? We got the moon still beginning the day, moon in Leo at 24 degrees, a degree of Pisces. Tearing down those old Piscean energies and the hidden ones, because we're dealing with the moon, the hidden ones that have obscured your light, the programs from childhood. This is again, we're closing out the theme on Tuesday, and Mars is helping you close it out as the moon moves out of Leo and into Virgo. We've got Venus at the 0 degree point, another portal. Then we got Mercury at 8 degrees, a degree in tarot of Leo, Scorpio, astrologically, the 8. So Mars is being assisted by all of the other planets to help us, especially with this Libran energy, to fight in ways that are balancing. And the reason that must occur is because, like I said to you before, so many of us, so many of you have been in fight or flight because of trauma. And as such, a lot of the ways that we respond to energies is through being highly defensive. And when you're highly defensive, you are in survival mode. Okay, so Mars is now helping us to attune our hearts and our minds to a new standard of energy where we learn how to rise up and fight when it's necessary, and also know when to back down. Also know when to be in receiving mode. Also know when to open our hearts and to open ourselves up. And this was a lesson that, was coming through very strongly today in the interaction I was having with my daughter. It was like, I wrote these notes on Friday, so it was just like, oh, okay, I see how this energy is playing out. So the Mars energy, because it's working through Libra again, and Libra, the 4 of Swords is about resting, it's about peace. But it's also connected to the Empress, because Libra energy is the Empress in justice in the tarot. So the Mars energy here is working through this placement, 28 degrees of Libra, helping you to, attuning you to know when to fight for your truth, but also how to lay down your sword and rest. When to lay your shield and your sword down, to rest and receive. To be in Empress mode. There is a balancing of your masculine and feminine energies into their divinity that's occurring as the distortions are cleared. So Mars wants to teach you, wants to begin to teach you, as you see these hidden childhood wounds and the mechanisms and the defense mechanisms that they have wrought. Mars wants to teach you defense mechanisms, how to defend yourself from a place of truth and not trauma. I'm going to say that one more time. Mars wants to teach you how to defend yourself and wants to teach you defense mechanisms that are born from truth and not trauma. So this is where we're going to begin visiting how we build our own frequency fences. The fences that we erect emotionally through the way we think that keep people out that we don't need to keep out. And the ways that we've opened ourselves too much to people that we need to be erecting these frequency fences with. And Mars is teaching us better discernment. As our nervous systems become more regulated, Mars is teaching us now how to recalibrate them into truth. So the Mercury at 8 degrees Libra is helping us to go deep and to fight against all the stories and the emotional wounds that are still keeping us out of love. That's that Scorpio energy expressing itself through that degree, as well as the Leo strength card energy. We're going deep and we're fighting, we're being brave and we're being courageous, we're fighting for our hearts, we're fighting against all the stories and the deep emotional wounds forged from childhood that are still keeping us out of divine love. We're learning the art of surrender to the feminine. The art of surrender to the feminine, and Mars is helping us to do that, which should give you a very good idea of what's happening also in the divine masculine collective. We're learning the art of surrendering to the feminine, personally, also globally. And that's another theme. Also collectively. That's another theme that's coming up as we move into Friday the 13th, which is a day that is all about the exaltation of the divine feminine energies too. And that's why they in our consciousness, they flipped it around and made it bad luck. And why the number 13 floor is bad, all of this other crap. 13 is a divine number. So on Tuesday, the day of Mars, we have the 1010 portal. We have the 1010 portal, right? So we're stepping into the start of a new material reality, and we're closing the door on the old one. We're closing the door on the old one. So we have Venus in Virgo at 0 degrees. We have the moon is moving on Tuesday from 24 degrees into 24 degrees Leo into 5 degrees Virgo. The 24 degrees is again a Piscean degree, and the 5 degrees is the Leo degree. So again, we have this return, this portal opening to return us to innocence, the 1010 portal to return us to innocence. And then the 16 degrees of Libra, the sun at 16 degrees, like I said, that's a tower card in the tarot. But in astrology, 16 is a degree of Cancer. So again, it's about the spotlight. The spotlight, the sun. The spotlight is on destruction of the fake, karmic mother templates that our personal and collective dysfunction was founded upon. So we're destroying that. The sun is helping us to see brighter so we can fully destroy that within ourselves, because this is what we're opening the door for energetically on a collective level. Remember, the whole matrix was founded upon these false mother, karmic mother templates that were designed for mothers to perpetually destroy their children, for these systems and institutions to then come and do the same. And they would destroy their children in order for them to have social acceptance, social advancement. And because they were taught that this was how you raise a child, that's not true. And then generation after generation, we just kept wounding one another. And every time a child would wake up, they'd be scapegoated for sharing the truth of what it was they were seeing. That's coming to an end now. There will be no more in the new earth. There will be no more of these wounding children and then keeping adults in wounded, arrested states in order for other beings to capitalize off of their pain. So, Wednesday, the day of Mercury. And Mercury is expressing themselves on Wednesday through the 10 to 12 degree Libra. And this is like a Wheel of Fortune portal that's being activated. A Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is the number 10 card, right? So, day after the 1010 portal. The Wheel of Fortune, this is what Spirit is speaking to us through Wednesday, is about the energy of the 1010 portal, which is this Wheel of Fortune energy that's been activated. And so we're looking at the Wheel of Fortune, the Justice, and the Hanged Man card through those degrees of Mercury, 10, 11, and 12, which is why they were calling it the Wheel of Fortune portal that's been activated. So on Wednesday, by the power of Mercury, we are attaining a higher perspective, and we are gaining divine visions and activations that are going to help us to see through the mirages, the mirrors, the projections, and the full removal of masks and veils before self and source. Okay, so Wednesday is like a day to get naked before the Lord. I had a friend who in Christian circles, that's what they would say to you, to get naked before the Lord. And I had a friend, and she was like, when they told me to do that, I was literally doing it. She had me cracking up. She was hilarious, and she was very much a genius in the area of astrology too. But literally, Wednesday is a day to be completely naked and transparent before self and source. okay? Because there is a higher perspective and a divine vision that wants to make itself known for the next cycle for many of you, but it only comes by way of that energy of being completely unmasked before yourself and source. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. Everyone is going to tune into a different version of you, and people are going to have different opinions of you. And you know what? When it comes down to it, all of them in some way, shape, or form are right, because you're a multidimensional being and they've experienced that aspect of you, and that's fine. But it doesn't matter, in other words, what other people think or their experience of you. What matters at this point, and this is what Wednesday wants to challenge you on, is what do you think about yourself? And what do you not only think about yourself, but what do you know about your truth? Can you be naked in that truth before yourself, first and foremost? Can you own every part of yourself and your story? Can you really own it? Can you really accept it? Can you really, not try to repress it or push it back or hide it or veil it from yourself, not other people, from yourself now and source? Because ultimately, that's what opens you up to see things as they really are. When you see yourself as you really are, that's when you see things truly how they are. So only when your mind and your heart, only when our minds and our hearts are in true divine alignment, are we able to righteously judge self and therefore others. And your mind and your heart are truly in divine alignment when you can be completely real about who you are on every level. The highest of truths in terms of who you are divinely as a being, and then the lowest of realities based upon your own human shortcomings, that are due to your experiences and trauma. Can you be so real with yourself from a place of just observation that you're no longer judging yourself? You're just seeing the fullness, the full spectrum picture of who you are. Because only when you can do that for yourself can you rightly see and judge situations outside of you. And the only reason you can rightly judge is not because I'm saying you are a judge, but it's because you are seeing things from a true perspective, a higher perspective. You are connected with the eyes of God because you've connected with them within yourself. And so what Wednesday is really feeling like to me, is that like Libra season is all about, if you are connected to the Egyptian way of viewing the energy of Libra, is connected to Ma'at, the goddess Ma'at. And so Libra season is about the weighing of the heart against the feather. And you only enter into the next cycle of bliss, or what they call the Elysian fields. You only enter into them based upon your heart being lighter than the feather. And in some ways, I've said this before, the feather is representative of your mind. It's representative, and your heart, the heaviness of the heart, is representative of all of those emotions that you've repressed, and because you haven't been able to face yourself and your truth. But when you face yourself and your truth, the feather and the heart must come into balance. They must come into balance, and even the feather can become lighter than the heart, and you can gain access. So what I'm saying here is that there seems to be on Wednesday a real weighing of the heart and the feather. There seems to be a day of judgment on Wednesday. And judgment isn't a bad thing. We all go through judgment. Judgment is only a bad thing if you're trying to evade universal law and you're trying to hurt yourself and others. The main universal law, the golden rule as they like to call it, it's only going to be an issue for you if you are consciously living in ways to hurt other beings. You get what I'm saying? Because the point of all of this is always to help you calibrate yourself higher. because your mind and programming will always try to talk you into things lower than your value. So there feels like there's some kind of a removal of blindfolds and veils that have kept you blinded from the full spectrum truth. And when you're blinded to the full spectrum of who you are, including your shortcomings and the sheer power that you have, your beauty, your skill, your talent, when you're blinded from any aspect of self in any way, your shadow and your glory, when you're blinded to any of those parts of self, that's what leads you to repeat cycles that are designed to break your heart. That's what keeps you in the perpetual cycle of having your heart broken and breaking your own heart. So it feels like on Wednesday there is some kind of end to blindness. And it happens as Saturn moves to 0 degrees Pisces. And so another portal is opened. Okay? Thursday is a day of Jupiter. And Jupiter is going to be at 13 degrees Taurus. It's retrograding. And the sun is in Libra at 18 degrees. The moon is in Virgo around 18 to 29 degrees, so closing out its cycle now in Virgo on Wednesday. And Mercury will be moving from 12 through to 14 degrees on Thursday. Now, Jupiter is a planet that helps you to expand into your divine truth so that you can get the rewards that really are really yours. So Saturn comes to help to put you in order so that you can receive from Jupiter. But they're both very much connected to order, to law and order. Okay, so it feels like on Thursday there is a revelation of something that has been obscured, hidden, or repressed. So remember, on Wednesday there's an end to some kind of blindness, and when we're no longer blind to the things within self, then the things that have been hidden materially must be exposed to, right? So there's a revelation of something that has been obscured, hidden, or repressed. And that doesn't mean that on Wednesday you're going to see something and on Thursday it's going to materialize. But no, it feels like Thursday there's a window that's opening up to make the exposure energies possible, commensurate to how much it's happened within yourself. Okay? So this is what has kept you out of the divine alignment necessary for self-liberation. Right? So you're dealing with, on Wednesday, you're dealing with energies within. And on Thursday, it feels more like we're looking a little bit more at systems. And maybe maybe for some of you, you will experience it by having a revelation on how you've been systemically programmed against yourself in another very covert way, or maybe it's something that literally you're going to see on the outside of yourself be manifested in the collective, in other people. You're going to see, there's going to be a revelation of this covert systemic programming that is designed to take us all into destruction and dysfunction. So this is what has kept you at, okay, energy. There's an energy of exposure also concerning a hidden treasure. Okay, in other words, there is a revelation of what has been keeping you cycling through 5 of Pentacles energy. Okay, so this is more dealing with something that's been happening for you on the material level. So for some of you, it might be literally, you might come across a situation that you weren't aware that was happening in your material life that's been blocking you. For others of you, it might be, I realize that the way I've been thinking, I've been trained to do this my whole life, actually isn't in alignment with my living in abundance. I actually see that this is very much connected to keeping me stuck in survival mode. And it wasn't very obvious to me before, but it is now. That could be it too. It could also be because of the deep, self-accountability that Wednesday wants to draw out of you. It could be the revelation of your beauty and a gift that you've either been hiding or you weren't even aware you had, or you weren't really taking any credit for. But either way, there is a revelation of what has been keeping you unstable in love, finances, and overall health. But this again feels like these are energies that are within, but also without. Because this is also something that is systemic and institutional, because we're working through this Taurian energy also. It must be recognized, acknowledged, and exposed. And you should know that this Jupiter energy for Thursday, it's been going on for a while. For as long as Jupiter is at 13 degrees Taurus, this is what it's drawing out. Okay, so Jupiter is over law and order alongside Saturn, and Saturn sitting at 0 degrees Pisces feels like it is setting the tone up for some kind of reparations and restoration energy. So that's what it feels like Jupiter and Saturn are working together towards now, especially as Saturn moves into the 0 degrees. We're moving through the 10-10 portal. It feels like reparations, restoration. It feels like restitution. A return to innocence, and a return of what it is that's been lost due to the fuckery. Okay, the 13 degree Taurus energy also signifies the death of an old system, an old pattern, or a deep-seated cycle. Okay, 13 is a degree of Aries, and also a divine number connected to the divine feminine, which I spoke about before. And it feels like this is also a setup for the next day, for Friday. Okay, so it feels like something the full moon brought to your attention, the full moon in Aries brought to your attention to let go of, that it must die to access this new energy of expansion. So again, this week, like I said, it's a pivot point week. It's a point of making a decision. Where do you stand? As I was saying at the beginning, what's going? What's staying? What are you holding on to? And what wants to come in that place? It's time for you to decide. Okay, so it feels like the full moon in Aries brought certain things to your attention that need to die. And not only do they need to die, but if you want to access these energies that are opening up this week, they must die. Okay, whatever thing that you were has to be let go of, it must die. And it's not that you must materially do it this week. It means that in your heart you must commit to that truth now. Because most of the time where we fight the most is in our heart and our mind. So now you must commit to what it is you want to do. Are you going to hold on still, or are you going to now let go and jump higher? Because something new wants to be established, but only as you surrender and let go. Something new wants to be established, but only as you surrender and let go of what will allow for you to rise into the order of energy necessary to receive it. So something new wants to be established, but you must surrender and lean into the newness, meaning you can't hold on to what must be let go of. If you hold on to what it is that you are being challenged to let go, you are not making the new room that this week is asking you to make in order to be in receiving mode. The holding on to things is lack. It's survival mode. It's thinking that you don't have the power to create something better for yourself than what you have, or you are not worthy of having something better than what you already have. This week is really wanting to challenge that energy. So finally, we have Friday the 13th, and the divine feminine energies are rising higher. We are returning back into the natural divine order of things. Okay, so Friday the 13th, we have one second, how did I get so behind on pushing this forward? Friday the 13th. So we have Venus. Okay, so this is an interesting day energetically. Okay, so we have Venus expressing herself through the 3-degree Virgo mark. She's moved through the first 3 degrees of Virgo since the 1010 portal on Tuesday. So she's been traversing through this. She's been challenging us on the lessons we've learned through the Venus retrograde in Leo. Are we going to actually materialize these, make them real in our reality right now? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? How are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about thinking bigger about yourself, thinking grander about the possibilities? How are you feeling about eliminating those things? How are you feeling about it? The things that would stop you from getting there. How are you feeling about it? How are you thinking about it? Venus in Virgo has been speaking to us, since Tuesday. And now she's at 3 degrees on Friday the 13th. And of course, 3 is a degree, is in tarot, it's connected to the Empress. So something is wanting to be birthed, and it wants to be established and birthed, right? Or birthing wants to be established, we should say. Or planting wants to be established, because the Empress is about the harvest cycle, planting and reaping. And this is what we were talking about before, that I was saying, this impregnation energy. On Friday, maybe you're going to become impregnated based upon the choice, impregnated with your necessary codes, based upon the decision you've made this week in your heart. Your mind, but signed off in your heart. 3 is also a degree of Gemini, right? Astrologically speaking. So this is something that Spirit is really wanting to drive home. So yeah, it does feel like on Friday the planting begins. And on Saturday, when the eclipse comes, it removes the weeds. It removes, it removes the energies that would stop the new cycle of harvest from coming in. But what's interesting about this day is that we have the moon is at 29 degrees Virgo when the day opens. And it's going to move from 29 degrees Virgo from following this chart again to 12 degrees Libra. And Mercury is in Libra at 14 degrees. So we've got 2 balancing energies happening, because 14 is Temperance card in the tarot, right? 3 is a number of establishing and birthing. What you choose to align your heart and your intentions with today, based upon everything you've been through this week and way before, what you choose to align your heart and your intentions with today is what the eclipse energies will be responding to. It is a day to tune into how you want to feel moving forward. In terms of the decision that you finally co-sign off of, the way you'll know you're in alignment is because it's what helps you to access that Venusian energy that believes you deserve to feel good. You deserve to live a life you love. You have a right to pleasure, Venus says, and not, again, matrix pleasure, because that is empty. It's not even real pleasure. It's more, you have a right to the pleasure that comes when you are divinely aligned. And when you're living in a way that you're honoring yourself and therefore honoring others and the earth. It feels like there is some kind of closing out of what Virgo season accomplished. It feels like there's a closing out on Friday the 13th of what Virgo season accomplished. And it's with the 19 degrees, the sun at 19 degrees Libra is interesting, because 19 is the energy of the sun in the tarot. And 19 degrees, the sun is what you must get to in order to fully recover yourself into wholeness so that you can access your North Node. That's how I read the energy of the sun. So in the tarot, it's number 19 card. It means you are now in divine alignment with your truth, having recovered, the fragments of self that's been strewn across the matrix, across lifetimes and timelines due to trauma and energy harvesting. When you get to the number 19, you have recovered those parts of you. And so you are able to shine in the fullness of who you are. You are able to connect with your divine truth and live it, which is what the 14 degrees in Mercury is speaking to us about too, through that Sagittarian energy of the temperance, which is all about balancing. But the temperance energy isn't just balancing for anything. The temperance energy is literally balancing you to get ready for a new level of expansion that is made possible by you living in divine order and truth. That's what the temperance energy is, because the Sagittarius energy is the doorway into the 144 frequency. And that's where you start to actually live in your truth before you begin to see things materially. Okay, so the Mercury expressing itself through this degree in Libra is very much talking about a balance that's happening to get you ready for further expansion. Remember, this is a week that's getting us ready to plant the seeds that are necessary to bring forth the golden age. We're establishing the foundation for the new golden age energies this week, right? So it feels like Mercury is speaking about the rebalancing that is necessary for us to live in accordance with that truth now that we're planting new seeds, is what it feels like. And the sun is helping you to get into the ultimate balance, because it's the 19 degrees through the Libra energy. And you're closing out the Three of Swords cycle. No more breaking your own heart. No more breaking your own heart. And the moon, is beginning the day at 29 degrees Virgo. That's a closing degree of Virgo. Again, this feels like there's something on Friday that is, there's a grand wrapping up of the lessons from Virgo season that is occurring through this energy of Friday the 13th. And again, that 29 degree, it is a degree of Leo. So once again, we're dealing with the recovery of our light. And now, because Virgo energy is here to liberate, it's the liberator energy, the self-liberator energy, and it liberates you by way of teaching you also how to what would be the word? The Virgo energy teaches you how to master your light, master your Leo energy. That's why the Hermit has the lamp. It's all about helping you now to align with following the light of your own soul. That's what the Virgo energy helps you to do. That's why it's a self-liberator. It helps you, and it's the perfecter of your soul, the perfecter of your light. It helps you now how to learn how to walk exclusively following the light of your own soul, and no longer falling prey to betraying self, based upon, false acceptance and social acceptance and making people feel more comfortable with you in a dimmer state. The Virgo energy helps you to follow the light of your soul. And this is what it feels, and this is what this new age is about. You must follow the light of your soul. The light of your soul is what releases your golden codes into the earth. And then you have Mars entering in at 0 degrees Scorpio. And Mars loves to be in Scorpio, loves to be in Aries, and loves to be in Scorpio. It rules Aries and co-rules Scorpio with Pluto. And Mars expressing itself through Scorpio, this is the beginning of the fighting against. It's like any hidden energies, but it's deeper than that, because it feels like it's Mars is about to go to work on systems and institutions, and the deep things that are hidden through this turn in Scorpio, because it's time for beings to be able to follow the light of their own souls. So Mars is coming to war against some of those secret things. It's coming to war against those occult practices also that have been used against us, and they're still trying to use it against us. So for some of you, this Mars transit through Scorpio is really going to to help balance all the ways that warfare has been tearing you apart, for as long as you've calibrated yourself and you've activated yourself and upgraded yourself where you need to be due to these attacks. You've allowed them to actually help you to rise. For as long as you've done that, it feels like Mars is coming in to come to war against some of those hidden energies that are still very persistent and don't want to let go, because they have to. They will. It's only a matter of time. They're just being like spoiled toddlers, but especially with this Saturn at 0 degrees in Pisces too. And then I think, did I mention that Pluto is coming out of retrograde, I think on Monday or Tuesday? I have it in my notes, but I don't think I mentioned it. On what day is that happening? Yeah, on Wednesday, Pluto stations to go direct right after the 1010 portal and right after Mercury hits 10 degrees of Libra. So this is like on Wednesday when we start to see things clearly, because we see ourselves clearly. And that's the day that Pluto stations to go direct. So Pluto is now moving through the final degrees again of Capricorn. This is again dealing with material contracts. And then Lilith would have moved into 1 degree Virgo. What she was noticing, or what she was showing us the whole time she was in Leo, is about to be, everything's being put into place to bring into material reality what needs to happen for this return of true legacy and the removal of false, and also for the resurrection of the child. The resurrection of the child. The resurrection of your inner child, but the resurrection of the child, because we're speaking about the matrix too, Yeah. But I think that's all I have. My bum is hurting now. I've been sitting too long. Sitting too long. I'm going to get a card for you, and then I'm going to call it a day. Let me know if you like this format. I might do it from time to time, especially when we have big weeks. I don't know if it's something I'm going to do every week, but I might do it when we have like big energetic weeks. And it's like, when do we not have a big energetic week at this point? But we'll see. Let me know if you like it though, if it's going to help you through your week. Look at this, guys. First light, beginning a new cycle. Wowza. Wowza. Yeah, and this is what it's really feeling like. You see how in this picture you have the dying leaf, but then you have the eggs and you have the flowers, and then you've got winter below. It's like you got the moon and the sun, eclipse energies, right? So you got the sun, the moon, the winter, the spring, the fall, the summer. You've got them all. There's like a collision of energies that are occurring right now, which is very much the 10. The 10 energies are like the endings and the simultaneous beginnings. Everything is happening because that's the window out into the wheel of fortune. That is it. That is the creator code. And as such, it can feel a little bit chaotic, but that's the place where anything is possible for as long as you align yourself to that energy. Because remember, everything you've ever wanted, it's already yours. All you got to do is find out what is happening within that is keeping you out. And most of the time, your mind isn't attuned with it. Because a lot of the time, your heart will follow your mind. But your mind, you've got to attune your mind into a new way of thinking. And then you've got to undo the old emotional responses. And that's what we've been doing. At the bottom, oh my gosh, look at this. Overcoming obstacles, you can overcome anything. That's right. There's no obstacle that can be put on your path that is greater than you. If it's been put on your path, it's because you have the power to overcome it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on your path. But you've got to know this about yourself. You've got to know this about yourself. And this is why, again, I said to you, I don't do emergency readings. Because as far as I'm concerned, there is no emergency divinely. There is just things that maybe you need to wait on divine timing for, whether that's 5 to 7 working days, or maybe there's something that you need to work on alone. You know, so that's full circle. But that's what I have for you guys. I wish you a beautiful week. Please use these energies to the full of the fullness of your power and ability, because this really does feel like it's a week that is setting the tone for something big. So, walk into it as if it is. Walk into it not with fear, but with excitement. Like, what is all of this going to be unlocking? Walk into it with excitement and expectation for beauty, because that ultimately is what these energies are wanting to help you to do. Help shift the mindsets and the emotions that have kept you out of that so far. So thank you for hanging with me if you've been here this long. If you would like to work with me, my information is always in the description box below. You can check out my website, solara.info. Please realize that I don't take orders through the site. It is simply there for you to know what all my services are and the pricing. If you're interested in booking with me, then please either contact me through the contact page or email me, dailyalkhemy@gmail.com. That information is also in the description box below. When you come to me, please know what it is that you want, unless you have a general question, because a lot of the time I end up just, sending you guys back to the website because the information is there, and I try to make it quite comprehensive in terms of explaining my services. So please do your own due diligence before you come to me, and check out the website too. Okay. The other new service I have is, I mentioned this, I'm doing divine alignment readings. People come to me all the time and ask me for general readings. I don't tend to do them. I'm very picky about how I read for people, but I will be doing divine alignment readings. I don't know for how long I'll be doing that service, so make use of it while you can. A divine alignment reading is really where you come to me and we deal with the area where you are, the thing that you're wanting, and what is the block? What is it that Spirit is asking you to take a look at in order to shift the energy within so you can align with that thing that you want divinely. So whether it's love, whether it's material, it doesn't really matter. I think that's it. Yes, if you'd like to donate to the channel or to my work, you can do so through my PayPal link, which is also in the description box below. I will be returning probably to Substack soon. I took a break from Daily Alchemy, and I don't know if I'm going back to that format, but for those of you who are interested in the work I do as a writer, I probably will either be doing a Patreon or a Substack very, very soon. So please stay tuned, and I will let you know on the community board. And yes, I'm sending you guys so much love. I wish you a beautiful week. I'm sending you love, joy, peace, stamina, clarity, stability, everything that you need to get through this next cycle so powerfully, and everything that is ultimately yours when you are in divine alignment, meaning that you are aware of this because you know who you are, you know your rights, you know your access, you know the resources that are available to you because you're aware of your power. Okay, so yes, I will see you guys again soon. I will be back later this week with a tarot astrology reading on the eclipse. Until next time, be well.